The word hit me like a slap I didn't see coming. Gold digger. He said it casually, almost lazily, as if my request for child support was nothing more than a greedy hand reaching into his pocket. I had called him because our daughter, Lily, had just turned 6 and her new school required uniforms. 3 sets minimum. Each cost $45, and on top of that, the supply list stretched like a cruel joke. Crayons, markers, glue sticks, a backpack, lunchbox, tissues, sanitizer. By the time I added it up, it was nearly $200. Money I didn't have after rent, utilities, and the daycare late fees I was still trying to crawl out from. "I'm not giving you money to spend on yourself," he snapped, his voice sharp through the phone speaker. "You chose this life. Don't come crawling to me. You're just a gold digger." I stared at the cracked screen of my phone, every word slicing deeper than the last. The smell of overcooked pasta drifted from the stove, where I was trying to stretch a $1 box of noodles into 2 nights of dinner. Lily hummed to herself at the table, coloring a page she had begged me to print from the library computer. Her little voice floated up, innocent, untouched. "Mommy, can I use the pink next?" I swallowed hard, turned my back so she couldn't see the tears threatening to spill. My hand clenched around the counter edge, knuckles whitening. I wasn't asking for a luxury. I wasn't asking for myself. I was asking for the bare minimum, a father helping to raise his child. And yet, in his eyes, I was nothing but a schemer, someone who had trapped him with responsibility he never wanted. But here's the truth. I never trapped him. I begged him to be there, begged him to stay when I was pregnant. He left anyway. And since then, every dollar, every hour, every late-night worry has been mine alone. The sting of that word stayed in the air long after the call ended. Gold digger. As if choosing to carry our daughter into this world was a financial scheme. As if the dark circles under my eyes from double shifts, the second-hand clothes, the skipped meals, were signs of greed. I turned the burner off, the hiss of the stove dying into silence. For a moment, all I could hear was Lily's crayons scratching across paper. I forced my face into something calm before I turned back around. She looked up at me with those big brown eyes, his eyes, though I hate admitting it, and smiled. "Look, Mommy." I drew us together, 2 stick figures holding hands under a crooked sun, her small, tender world where love was simple and unquestioned. My chest tightened. I couldn't let her see me break. I couldn't let his cruelty define what she believed about her mother. I whispered back, more to myself than to her, "I'm not a gold digger. I'm a mother, and I'll fight for you, Lily, no matter what it takes." But deep down, I knew that fight was about to get harder, much harder. The word hit me like a slap I didn't see coming. Gold digger. He said it casually, almost lazily, as if my request for child support was nothing more than a greedy hand reaching into his pocket. I had called him because our daughter, Lily, had just turned 6, and her new school required uniforms, 3 sets minimum. Each cost $45, and on top of that, the supply list stretched like a cruel joke. Crayons, markers, glue sticks, a backpack, lunchbox, tissues, sanitizer. By the time I added it up, it was nearly $200. Money I didn't have after rent, utilities, and the daycare late fees I was still trying to crawl out from. "I'm not giving you money to spend on yourself," he snapped, his voice sharp through the phone speaker. "You chose this life. Don't come crawling to me. You're just a gold digger." I stared at the cracked screen of my phone, every word slicing deeper than the last. The smell of overcooked pasta drifted from the stove where I was trying to stretch a $1 box of noodles into 2 nights of dinner. Lily hummed to herself at the table, coloring a page she had begged me to print from the library computer. Her little voice floated up, innocent, untouched. "Mommy, can I use the pink next?" I swallowed hard, turned my back so she couldn't see the tears threatening to spill. My hand clenched around the counter edge, knuckles whitening. I wasn't asking for a luxury. I wasn't asking for myself. I was asking for the bare minimum, a father helping to raise his child. And yet, in his eyes, I was nothing but a schemer, someone who had trapped him with responsibility he never wanted. But here's the truth. I never trapped him. I begged him to be there, begged him to stay when I was pregnant. He left anyway. And since then, every dollar, every hour, every late-night worry has been mine alone. The sting of that word stayed in the air long after the call ended. Gold digger. As if choosing to carry our daughter into this world was a financial scheme. As if the dark circles under my eyes from double shifts, the second-hand clothes, the skipped meals, were signs of greed. I turned the burner off, the hiss of the stove dying into silence. For a moment, all I could hear was Lily's crayons scratching across paper. I forced my face into something calm before I turned back around. She looked up at me with those big brown eyes, his eyes, though I hate admitting it, and smiled. "Look, Mommy." I drew us together, two stick figures holding hands under a crooked sun, her small, tender world where love was simple and unquestioned. My chest tightened. I couldn't let her see me break. I couldn't let his cruelty define what she believed about her mother. I whispered back, more to myself than to her, "I'm not a gold digger. I'm a mother, and I'll fight for you, Lily, no matter what it takes." But deep down, I knew that fight was about to get harder, much harder. What happens when the world calls you greedy for asking it to care about your child? I live in a place you probably don't know unless your bus transfers here. Riverton, mid-sized city, river that smells like pennies after the rain, brick buildings with peeling paint that keep standing out of stubbornness. Our apartment sits above a nail salon on Maple and 3rd. The salon glows a soft pink at night, and the smell of acetone slips under our door on Saturdays. It's a one-bedroom that pretends to be two, with an IKEA curtain and determination. I pay $1,180 in rent, $140 average for lights and gas, and about $85 a week for Lily's after-school program when I can afford it. If I can't, I barter with my neighbor, Deja. She keeps Lily an hour or two, and I babysit her toddler on Sundays so she can catch up on sleep. I work the front desk at Riverside Urgent Care. The hours move like a carousel. 2 days 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., 2 days 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., every other weekend. When I get the late shift, I sprint a clock I never win. The clinic buzzer rattles my bones, the printer spits labels like angry paper tongues, and my headset digs into my scalp, while I repeat insurance scripts I could now say backwards. People come in bleeding, coughing, worried. I take their names gently, and try to hold their fear without letting it spill into mine. Every morning, our routine is a braid of speed and softness. Lily wakes to the sound of the kettle, her hair smelling like coconut, because the dollar store only had that brand of detangling spray. We share oatmeal with a spoonful of peanut butter stirred in. It tastes like hope pretending to be dessert. The bus stop is 3 blocks down, where the pavement buckles and the grass stubbornly survives and cracks. We take Route 6 to the transfer station, then the 14. 48 minutes, if the first bus isn't late. Lily presses her forehead to the window and reads store signs like spells. She notices everything: the yellow dog that naps outside the laundromat, the barber who hums, the lady who sells mango cups with chili on Saturdays. "Why is it called urgent if they make people wait?" she asked me once, lips purple from a melted popsicle. I didn't have a good answer. When I was pregnant, I imagined a different version of this life, not swaddled in luxury, just a second pair of hands at midnight feedings, a shoulder when the crying wouldn't stop, someone to carry the car seat to the bus and hold the umbrella so we both stayed dry. Back then, he was gentle, or I wanted to believe he was. He rubbed circles on my lower back when the nausea came, made instant mashed potatoes at 2 a.m., when that was all I could keep down. But when the doctor held the first ultrasound photo up and said, "Heartbeat looks strong," something shuddered in his eyes. He started talking about timing and pressure. We had plans, he said. I'd hear him at night whispering to his phone, the bright screen lighting his jaw. The week I told him we were having a girl, he moved his things out in 3 trips and left the kettle I still use because the handle is molded to my palm. He visited twice in the hospital when Lily was born. He brought a balloon that knocked against the ceiling whenever the door opened. He took a photo of her and posted it with a caption that didn't include my name. After that, he disappeared into the kind of silence that swallows your pride first and your hope slowly. We made an agreement once, unofficial, that he would help when he could. It turns out, when he could, meant birthdays, if his girlfriend reminded him. I delayed going to court, not because I didn't know my rights, but because time off work is money I don't have, and paperwork is a second language you learn through hunger. I told myself I could carry it, that I didn't need him, that asking would make me smaller. But Lily kept growing, and the world kept charging. $2 for the bus fare, $3 for milk, $12.99 for shoes that wear holes in 2 months, because recess happens on rough concrete. Last winter, I paid a $25 late fee to the after-school program for being 11 minutes late when the clinic ran past shift change. That fee was bigger than the time I was late by. Money warps like that. People like to say, "It takes 2. They don't finish the sentence. It takes 1 to work like 2, 1 to plan like 2, 1 to stretch like elastic so nothing snaps. Some days I am proud of the stretch. Some days I am the sound it makes right before breaking. I knew I had to file. I knew I had to say, on paper with my full legal name, that he is Lily's father, and he owes a portion of her life. I didn't want the fight, but I wanted fairness more. The morning I called him to tell him I was filing, I made the mistake of leading with kindness. I said, I can't carry this alone anymore. It's for Lily. That's when he said it. You're just a gold digger. I heard the hiss in my own breath, the way shame rushed in to sit where anger should have. It is a trick of the world that a man who won't buy his daughter shoes can put me on the defensive with 2 words. But I'm unlearning the trick. If you're watching this, tell me where you're listening from. Drop your city and one resource that helped you this month. And if stories like this matter to you, subscribe so we can find each other faster. Because I'm going to court. I'm learning the forms. I'm counting bus transfers like beads. And I'm wondering, what will break first? The system that makes me prove need, or the silence that kept me from asking? If I push this door open, what will be on the other side? The courthouse smells like coffee and old carpet. In the hallway, numbers are called like deli tickets, and everyone pretends not to listen for each other's names. The fluorescent lights flatten us into the same tired color. I took a personal day, unpaid, and packed crackers and an apple in my tote. The sign on the wall says Family Court, support services in letters that think they are kinder than they are. Scene 1, paperwork. The intake clerk slides forms to me under glass. Her nails are perfect. Soft almond shape, pale pink polish. Fill sections A through D. Leave E blank. You'll need pay stubs, proof of rent, childcare receipts. I have a folder with a rubber band, edges bent from writing in my bag. Rent statement, check. 2 pay stubs, check. After-school invoices, I have 3. I don't have Lily's birth certificate because I pulled the wrong file in a rush and left the right one on the kitchen table under a cereal bowl. I text Deja. She sends a picture of the certificate. Will a photo count? The clerk shrugs without looking up. Sometimes. Sometimes is a word that steals hours. I fill in boxes with a pen that skips. My address. His last known address. Lily's birthday. The day he last contributed. A $25 gift card at Christmas with his name misspelled on the tag. In other information, I write, he called me a gold digger for requesting child support. The word looks smaller in ink. It still burns. Scene 2. The math. A woman I never met before sits beside me and whispers like a friend. They'll look at his income, yours, the child's needs. I nod like I understand the formula. In my head, I run my own math. If I Uber twice in a week, when the bus is late and late fees loom, then groceries shift to beans and rice and a bag of frozen peas. If I say yes to an extra hour at the clinic, I pay Deja $10 to watch Lily and net $3. If he paid even $200 a month, I could replace the shoes before her toes press against the front. I could breathe without counting. Scene 3. The call. His name is called before mine, like a shadow I have to step over. He's here in a jacket that still has store creases. He doesn't look at me, which is almost a kindness. The hearing officer speaks in a calm voice, asks simple questions that are actually negotiations with gravity. Do you acknowledge paternity? Are you currently employed? What is your monthly income? He answers softly. I can't hear the numbers. When it's my turn, the bench is cold. I answer in that thin voice that comes out when I'm trying not to cry. The officer nods, types, nods again. We'll set a temporary amount and a review date. Payments can be made through the state portal. It sounds like a plan. It tastes like maybe. Outside the courtroom, he waits near the elevators and says, Lo, you really dragged me here for a few dollars? The elevator arrives with a ding that sounds like a metal laugh. I don't answer, because anything I say will bruise me first. The doors close on his smirk. I hold the railing and breathe. Scene 4. The grocery line. Payday 2 weeks later. Lily wants strawberries. They're on sale but still a luxury. I put them in the cart anyway because we need a win. At the register, the total skips over what I expected. $62.13 instead of the $50 I planned. I remove the strawberries, then put them back when Lily touches the plastic and says, Please? I take out the yogurt instead. The cashier's acrylic nails click on the keys. We end at $52.07. My phone buzzes. An email from the state portal. Payment initiated. Not received. Initiated. Money in transit is a mirage you can't drink. I swipe my card and feel the sigh of the bank taking its cut. Scene 5. The late pickup. The 14 bus stalls 3 stops from the school. A mechanical cough, then stillness. The driver makes a call. Minutes leak. The clock doesn't care about my panic. I text Ms. Alvarez, the school counselor whose cardigan smells faintly like peppermint tea. I'm stuck on the 14. 5 minutes late. I'm so sorry. She texts back instantly. Got Lily. She's coloring with me. Breathe. The after-school program charges $15 for every 10 minutes late after 5:30. It's not cruelty. It's budget, but it hurts the same. The bus eventually yawns back to life. I arrive at 5:37. Ms. Alvarez waves from the bench, Lily's hair in 2 slightly crooked puffs. We're making a kindness tree, she says. Lily says you work hard like a superhero. I laugh and feel my ribs loosen. I slide a folded $5 into the donation jar by the front office, because dignity is a currency too. Scene 6. The broken shoe. On the walk home, Lily's soul peels back like a tongue. She shuffles. It's okay, Mommy. It's silly, she says, trying to make me feel better. We stop at the drugstore for super glue. $4.19. The glue smells sharp, like chemicals and defeat. I hold the shoe together on the sidewalk while cars hiss past in the drizzle. People stare like we are a street performance called Hold On Longer Than You Should. I press until the bond takes. At home, the envelope from the state portal waits in the mailbox. Inside, a letter that says payments will be processed within 30 days of initiation. 30 days is a season in a single mother's life. In the kitchen, the bulb flickers. The stovetop ticks before the gas catches. I set out 2 bowls. I split the last banana. I tell Lily that tomorrow we'll make pancakes and call it fancy. She squeals like we won the lottery. I memorize the sound because it's cheaper than therapy. On Sunday, I do reset. Laundry. Batch cook rice and chicken thighs with a packet of seasoning I found on sale. Label Lily's folders with sticky notes. Library Monday. PE Wednesday. Art Friday. I line up my pay stubs. Mark the calendar with court review date, rent due date, school spirit day, clinic schedule. The markers squeak on the paper. The apartment smells like lemon cleaner and the kind of hope you don't say out loud. The next week, he posts a photo of a new watch. The caption, treat yourself. In the comments, someone writes, King. I close the app before I read more. I'm not a saint. Envy rises and burns. I open the rental portal instead and make a partial payment, $600, promising myself the rest when the initiated becomes posted. By Thursday, my body is tired all the way down. Lily brings home a permission slip for a field trip, $12 fee. She bounces. We're going to the butterfly garden. I nod and say yes. I put the slip on the fridge with a magnet shaped like a peach. I write $12 on a sticky note and move $12 in my mental budget from maybe strawberries to definitely butterflies. That night, the portal still says initiated. Deja knocks on the door with her boy in a dinosaur onesie, hair smelling like baby shampoo. You good? She asks. I tell her I'm okay the way people say it when the truth would take an hour. She hands me a Tupperware with cornbread. Eat, she says, and text me if you get stuck again. I'm grateful. I'm also running out of stretch. The review date crawls closer. The amount initiated still hasn't arrived. I don't know if it's lost in process or held in a pocket of indifference. I dream of an envelope that never lands. I wake to a Monday circling my calendar in red. What do you do when the math keeps not mathing and the calendar keeps coming anyway? The day of the review hearing, the clinic schedule shifts at the last minute. We're down a person, my supervisor says. Eyes on the screen where coverage gaps blink like emergency lights. I need you until noon. My hearing is at 11:15, 15 minutes across town by bus if the traffic holds its breath. Policy says I need advance approval to leave mid-shift for personal appointments. Policy doesn't care that the appointment is the machinery that might feed my kid. Please, I say. One word, all my pride stripped. It's the child support hearing. Policy is policy, she says, not unkindly, just tired. If you go, I'll have to mark it as an occurrence. Occurrences add up. 3 1/4 and hours can be cut. I stand very still so the fear doesn't shake my voice. Children are children, I say quietly. She holds my eyes for a heartbeat and then looks away. Take an early lunch at 10:45, she says. I didn't say that. I pack my tote at 10:42, jog to the bus stop with my shoes slapping pavement, the late summer heat rising in oily waves from the street. The bus arrives at 10:50, full. I stand, grip the metal pole that smells like pennies and sanitizer, and watch the time feed on my hope. A man argues with his girlfriend on speaker. A baby sleeps open-mouthed in a carrier. A teenage boy taps a beat on the window frame. We lurch, stop, lurch. I text Ms. Alvarez. Hearing now. Can you be my emergency pickup if I'm late? She replies with a check mark. At 11:11, I get off 3 blocks early and run. The courthouse air conditioning slaps my sweat into goosebumps. I sign in at 11:16, chest heaving, and the security guard with kind eyes slides me a tissue. You're okay, he says. I thank him, and power walk to the hearing room where names are a rhythm. Mine lands. Inside, the officer from last time looks up. He has the glazed calm of people who ferry others across rivers all day. We're reviewing payment status and setting a formal order, he says. My ex sits 2 chairs away. A clean shave, a smell of new cologne that catches in my throat. He nods at the officer, not at me. Payments, the officer says, eyes on the screen. I see 1 initiation, not posted. Bank issue, my ex says smoothly. They held it. I can pay cash today. He looks at me then, that half smile like we share a joke. It's not a joke. Cash sounds like relief, but becomes quicksand if it's not recorded. I swallow. I need payments to go through the system, I say, voice steady. Steady because everything is riding on it. For tracking, for Lily. He leans back. See? Gold digger. He says it with a small laugh, like a private punchline. The room goes quiet in the way rooms do when someone drops something heavy and invisible. The officer looks at him, then at me. Let's keep our language respectful, he says. But the word is already in my hair, on my skin. I breathe. The window behind the officer shows a slice of sky the color of a bruise healing. My palms are damp. I think of Lily's permission slip on the fridge, the peach magnet. I think of cornbread in a blue Tupperware and bus 14 stalling and Ms. Alvarez's peppermint sweater. I think of my supervisor saying, occurrence, and the way I said, children are children, even if my voice trembled. This isn't about me, I say. I keep my tone even, pared down to bone. It's about our daughter. She eats, she grows, she needs shoes that fit. I'm asking for the minimum structure so she doesn't pay for our mistakes. He rolls his eyes. You should have thought about that before getting pregnant. I feel it, the old shame, the one that makes me small. I let it pass like a train I refuse to board. I did think, I say. I think every day. I think when I split a banana in half and call pancakes fancy. I think when I glue her shoe on the sidewalk. I'm asking you to think too. The officer clears his throat. Sir, based on your stated income and hers, the guideline amount is $312 per month, plus 50% of unreimbursed medical costs. Payments must go through the state system, first due by the 1st of next month. Missed payments accrue. My ex laughs under his breath, a sound like folding paper into a blade. $300 for a kid who probably just needs secondhand stuff? She doesn't need all that. Lily needs stability, I say, and dignity. He leans forward, voice low, dangerous. What you need is to stop using her to get to me. There it is. The idea that asking for help for a child is manipulation. The idea that I am a funnel for greed instead of a mother with hands full of lists and love. I look at the officer. I will hold up my end, I say. No more under the table anything. No more maybes. I need the order. Saying it is a cost. It may cost me hours. It may cost me his silence becoming louder. It may cost me the lie I told myself that we could solve this quietly. But it buys my daughter clarity. I accept the exchange. The officer types, prints, slides papers. Order is set, he says. You'll both receive copies. Ma'am, if payments are late, you can request enforcement. Sir, failure to pay has consequences, including license suspension and contempt. My ex stands, chair scraping. Have fun with your little victory, he says to me. Don't come crying when it backfires. I don't answer. There is nothing left to salvage here that wasn't already mine to carry. I sign where I'm told. My hands leave faint sweat marks on the table. By the time I reach the sidewalk, the sky has split open. Warm rain pours, heavy enough to erase chalk drawings and make the river smell like copper. I hold the papers under my shirt and run anyway, laughing because if I don't, I'll cry. The 14 is pulling away. I wave like a lunatic. The driver sees me in the mirror and stops. I climb aboard, soaked, shining. My phone buzzes. Ms. Alvarez. We made butterfly wings out of coffee filters. Lily chose rainbow. She wants to show you. Tell her I'll be there in 20. I text back, and then clutch the support pole as the bus surges forward. The city smeared into a watercolor. I can't be late. I won't be late. At 5:29, I burst into the school foyer. Lily's wings are still damp, colors bleeding into one another like a promise. When she sees me, she runs, wings fluttering air into my face that smells like temper paint and childhood. "Mommy, you're wet," she giggles, pressing a paper towel to my cheek. "I'm okay," I say, kneeling to her height. "I did something hard today." "Like a superhero?" she asks, eyes wide. "Exactly like that," I say, and I mean it in a way I didn't know I could. If I just chose a cost, what will the return look like in our real life? The first posted payment landed 11 days after the order, less than the letter promised, more than I could wait for without juggling. I saw the number on my bank app while sitting on the floor with Lily, building a city of blocks and toilet paper rolls. 312. It looked like breath. I didn't cry. I made a list. Shoes first, $14. 99 at the discount store. Pink laces because pink laces make her walk like music. Field trip fee, $12 in a sealed envelope with her name in my roundest handwriting. Groceries, milk, eggs, strawberries this time, because a little sweetness pushes the week forward. I bought a second-hand raincoat for me, $9, so the next courthouse storm wouldn't soak my bones. I put $25 on the utility bill to keep the balance from growing teeth. I tucked $10 in an envelope labeled Emergency Bus Uber, because planning is love in advance. Change didn't arrive like a miracle. It arrived like a routine that stopped cutting so close. The after-school late fee jar stayed empty for a week, then 2. I still ran for the 14, but I no longer felt like I was sprinting on the edge of a cliff. At Riverside Urgent Care, I took my occurrence and lived with it. My supervisor didn't cut my hours. Maybe she couldn't. Maybe she chose not to. Once, she left a peppermint on my keyboard with a sticky note that said simply, "You did what you had to do." I kept the note. Ms. Alvarez connected me to a Tuesday night resource circle at the community center. A mix of moms from the apartments, a grandmother raising her grandson, a dad who drives nights. We trade scripts and shortcuts, state portal tips, what to say when HR says policy, where to find the best backpack swap the week before school. There's a pantry table at the back with onions and potatoes, and a sign for after-school scholarships. $20 copay if you can, free if you can't. I filled out a form that didn't ask for my shame in triplicate. We now pay $20 a month for a program that keeps Lily until 6 p.m. and teaches her how to make paper circuits that light up like magic. The room smells like glue sticks and possibility. Deja and I tightened our little neighborhood web. She watches Lily on Thursdays when the clinic runs late. I take her toddler Sunday morning so she can grocery shop alone like it's a spa. We don't keep score, which is how you know it's real community. On our fridge, the Peach Magnet now holds a monthly calendar with 3 green check marks. Rent paid on time, utilities current, field trip, yes. There are still hard days. When the second payment was a week late, I felt the old panic lick my heels. I went to the portal, clicked contact support, and followed the script the resource circle gave me. I sent a text to Ms. Alvarez, asking if Lily could stay 15 extra minutes. She said yes, and added a rainbow emoji, because she knows we speak in small signs. The payment posted 2 days later. I put $3 in the emergency envelope to replace the Uber I almost took, and didn't. Tiny victories are still victories. I stopped checking his social media, not out of sainthood, out of choice. It steals time I need for folding laundry and reading Frog and Toad voices the way Lily likes. When he texted, "Can I see her this weekend?" with no plan, I sent the boundaries I wrote with the help of the circle. Yes, if you confirm by Thursday at 6 p.m., provide the address, and pick up a drop-off at the community center lobby. No last-minute changes. He didn't reply that time. The next month, he confirmed. He brought Lily back on time, hair in a ponytail too tight. She didn't talk much about it. I didn't press. We ate pancakes for dinner and called it fancy. People still say things that sting. At the laundromat, a woman I barely know said, "At least you got the court to make him pay." Some women milk the system. I looked at the washer spinning and felt the tug to defend myself, to submit itemized receipts for my motherhood. I didn't. I said, "My daughter eats and learns. That's the system I care about." She blinked. The conversation ended there, which is a kind of peace. The biggest change is inside our mornings. There is space between the kettle's whistle and the bus's brakes. Lily lingers over her oatmeal to tell me her dream in long, looping sentences about a caterpillar that turns into a dragonfly, that turns into a teacher. We discovered a small, free library 2 blocks off our route, A turquoise box with a glass door that sticks in the humidity. We leave notes in books like Secrets for Strangers. This one made us feel brave. The city hasn't changed. The river still smells like pennies after rain. But I stand in it differently. I won't tie this with a ribbon. There will be late buses and late payments. There will be permission slips that materialize the morning they're due, and shoes that peel on the walk home. But there will also be cornbread in blue Tupperware, and counselors with peppermint sweaters, and neighbors who knock at the right time. There will be decisions that cost you something, and buy your child a steadier world. The word he used, gold digger, doesn't live in my mouth anymore. It lives somewhere far away, small, like a pebble thrown off a bridge that never hits the water. I keep other words instead. Mother, boundary, record, routine, dignity. I say them daily until they feel like a house with a lock that works. Comment your city and one resource that another mom could use tonight. Subscribe for more true stories and practical scripts. No pity, just tools. And if you're walking to the bus in the rain with papers under your shirt, know this. You're not begging. You're building. Step by step, policy by policy, pancake by pancake. Can you feel it? The ground under your feet getting steadier. The wings drying, ready to open.